So Nevermind is one of the biggest albums ever. It came out in 1991, and it basically helped the rise of grunge, as around that time grunge was becoming the next big thing, kind of replacing hair metal for a little bit. This album was released by Nirvana, and the cover is infamous for featuring a baby, naked obviously, underwater, kind of looking at the, money in front of him, and it drove controversy to the point where the baby's private area was censored out of pretty much all releases in stores and whatnot. Now you can find the uncut cover pretty much everywhere else now and whatnot, but there's still people that will complain about it because let me talk about, not even let me talk about this, let me say this, right? Okay, people for years have cried out that this is some sort of like CP, that it's disgusting, this, that, and the other. And most of the time, I would agree with you if this was made to be a sexual thing, but this cover was not made to be a sexual thing. I've never necessarily had a problem with the cover because to me, if your main focus is the private part on a child, then I think you may have a little bit of a problem here. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, the former kid, now adult, who was on the cover, 30 years later, might I add, it's ironic that on the 30-year anniversary of Nevermind he's doing this, he has decided to sue the band. So Chris Novoselic, Dave Grohl, and Kurt Cobain's basically like family, like Courtney Love, and I would assume his daughter, I don't know if his daughter's involved, but Courtney Love has to be involved somewhat, for basically dramatizing his life up after that came out, which, I mean, like, come on, dude. It's not that I don't believe him or wouldn't feel bad for him if that was the case, but for years, on most of the anniversary dates, he's been recreating this photo, looking happy as ever, like he didn't give a damn. And like I said, I think he's doing it now because the 30th anniversary of the album is here, and for the most part, this whole cancel culture thing, I think maybe he thinks he can get one over on the band and maybe get some profit off of this. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me that all of a sudden now, after 30 years, was the time that you picked this. I get, yeah, you were a kid, you can't give consent, but, your parents can also sign off on this too, and from what I heard they did, and it just, again, it's a lawsuit that I look at and go, it doesn't fully make sense why he's doing this other than, oh, this is some sort of cash grab. He wants to make money off of this because of how big the album is and how historical it is and because he was the main person on the cover. And I'm just sitting there going, it really says a lot. It really, really does. Like, again, if this guy seriously was going through trauma from this album cover, sure, fine, but over the years he's never shown that, and it's just an out-of-the-blue thing that kind of happened, and you would think that, if he would have had a problem with it sooner, he would have said something, but he's never said anything until now, and I just don't believe what he has to say here. I think, again, this is just some sort of cash grab that he, thinks he can just get a quick buck or two off of, and in the end, I think this will be settled somehow. I don't think he's going to make as much as he wants to, but it's just, like I said, if you look at that Nirvana cover and the first thing you notice is the baby's genitals, then you're the one with the problem there, because that's not the whole point of the art. The whole point of the art is the album cover in itself, not the baby with its junk hanging out, It's just not... It's not the first thing that you should draw your attention to. I get it. Nirvana may have done it for shock value too, which if that's the case as well, that's kind of weird. But again, they didn't mean anything sexually by it, so why even freak out if there was no problem to begin with, even from the kid's parents back in the day? You would think if they had a problem with it, they wouldn't have allowed it, or they could have done it, said, oh, we don't agree with this, and then Nirvana used it anyway, and then there could have been some room for a lawsuit there for potential CP, but in the end, it's just is what it is. This is the album cover. I can't really show you the uncensored version, because if I do, then YouTube will just swoop in and take down the video, because that's just how YouTube is, but in the end, there's nothing sexual meant by this. This guy was not mentally drained by this whole situation. He seemed to be fine and happy because, oh, he made money off of this, and, he's known as the baby on the Nirvana cover. It doesn't seem genuine to me, the reasoning that he gave for this lawsuit in general. That would just be like, saying anything else of any album cover, like, oh, this person says after 30 years that they felt very uncomfortable or feel very uncomfortable that they had to pose for this album cover because of this, that, and the other. It just doesn't make sense. It's why I like seeing the memes of the news reports of like other albums where they're like, so-and-so decides to sue because of the album cover. That makes me crack up so much just because it's just a ridiculous reason overall to sue the band after so long. Like I said, I'm not saying that he wouldn't be justified if it was all true, but this is just a ruse to get money. It's a get-rich-quick scheme. That's all it is, and I don't support taking advantage of someone else's money, trying to make money off of them by doing something that, could I don't want to say this would ruin, Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, and Nirvana. I think they'll be just fine because I think there's more supporters of them in this situation than there is of this guy trying to sue, but it's a messed up situation. It really is. A situation that shouldn't really even be happening, but it is. So, yeah. That's my 2 cents on this. If you want to give me your 2 cents, you can tell me in the comments below what you truly, truly think of this, and what do you think will come of this lawsuit overall. But until then, stay safe out there, wear your mask, get vaccinated, and I will catch you all in the next one.